Here.
Keel.
Here.
Bowen.
Here.
Mattson.
Here.
And Schilling.
Here.
All right, do we have any additions or approval of the agenda for tonight's meeting?
I'm going to make a motion to move under new business, the allocate 2025 operating budget funds to the HACC to after public comments and approve agenda.
Okay,
I'll second that.
all right, any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Schilling.
Yes.
Keel.
Yes.
Horn.
Yes.
Bowen.
Yes.
Mattson.
Yes.
All right, so, and that approved the agenda too, right? Correct?
I tried to do
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Was that in
That's
his?
updated.
I
Let's
can
do
make
it.
it in it if that was your intent.
That was my intent. but
Okay.
Either way is fine, yes.
I can write it.
That's Robert's rules right there. Tony.
That's right.
That's Arden's rules.
All right, do we have any motions on the minutes from the 6-3 meeting?
Make a motion to approve minutes from 6-3.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mattson?
Yes.
Bowen?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Schilling?
Yes.
How about the special meeting on 6/16?
Motion to approve 6/16 special meeting minutes.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Schilling?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
Bowen?
Yes.
Mattson? Bills for payments, any action from the council on that?
Motion to approve bills as submitted.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we will vote. Mattson?
Yes.
Bowen?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Schilling?
Yes.
All right, next up, we have Ward 2 appointment for Ward 2, remainder of the council year, I guess I would call that, till May of 2026. I would like to appoint, or have the council consider Daryl Haracek for that seat.
Did our voting get pushed to July with the new state law, or that's up to our discretion?
We've got to decide that.
Yeah, we haven't decided that yet.
Once it goes in effect in July 1st, we'll be talking about it at our next meeting, when we want it.
Motion to approve the appointment of Darrell Racek for Ward 2 councilperson.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Schilling?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
Bowen?
Yes.
Mattson?
Yes.
All right, Daryl,
Time to get to work.
come on up. We'll have you take your oath, and Val can take pictures. You can stand right here behind the table, wherever you want to.
Right in front of the camera.
Say that, and then if you want to sign there afterwards, and I'll pick it up after.
You can set your stuff down because you need to raise your right hand and stand on one leg and, no, we don't.
You do need to raise your hand.
You do need to raise your hand.
Yeah. Yep. Then just read her.
Okay. County of Minnehaha, City, Town of Hartford. I, Gerald Haracek, having been appointed to the office of Councilperson, Ward 2, within and for the City of Hartford, in said county and state, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of South Dakota, and the ordinances of said City of Hartford, and that I will faithfully and impartially, to the best of my knowledge and ability, perform all the duties of my said office of Councilperson, Ward 2.
All right. You want a picture with me and Daryl?
Sure.
Hey, you know what, can
I have to stand on one, I'll stand on one.
picture at the pool?
Yeah, we should be at the pool though. Okay, thank you.
You bet. Come on over, take your spot.
Thank you.
And is this where we move Scotty then? Or no, after public comment? Okay, any public?
Michelle. Nice
Oh, yeah. You guys, you know Cindy Mattson, Sean Bowen, Ryan Horn, you know me, Travis Keel, you know, Michelle, you met? You've met Teresa?
Karen.
Karen's are, yeah, when we run slow, you'll meet Karen. Craig Wagner's the street superintendent. These are our engineers. Mitch and Justin. Michael. Oh, not Mitch. Oh, that's the other.
Mitch?
Oh, jeez.
You've been stepping out? You've been stepping out on ISG, are you?
Michael and Justin.
I wouldn't introduce people who don't know their names.
Yeah. Keep that under your hat. All right.
Nice to meet you.
That is just additional.
Did not know.
No, they're not. Sorry, I didn't mean that. You know I did.
I know.
All right, Tony.
Yes. So, first off, I want to address Keely Espinoza sent an email.
Yes,
I don't know how many of you read that email.
yes.
She wasn't able to make it tonight. I just want to second her concerns on speed on Colton Road. I get the privilege at least once a month to try to back out of her driveway. And there's a lot of semi-construction traffic going way too fast down that section of road. When do I see law enforcement out there? 7, 8 o'clock at night, when construction's all done. What's the solution? Because I was taught a long time ago, if you got a problem, bring a solution. My suggestion is that contact is made with the sheriff's department and they go to the pit and asphalt plant up north that all those trucks are coming out of and talk to the pit manager and say, you need to be reminding all your truck drivers there's a speed limit. And they probably should be doing the speed limit because it's been brought to the sheriff's attention. And we're not going to sit out, we may not be sitting out in plain sight. CDL drivers do not want to get speeding tickets. If they're reminded of it, they'll straighten themselves out. We kind of had the same situation with Zacharias trucks down the Diamond Trail. I don't know if the sheriff ever talked to him, but I talked to the flagman that was on the corner there and said, you guys aren't even slowing down to go around the corner from Diamond Trail onto the route. The sheriff's probably going to catch him on it and it immediately changed. But while I was fertilizing Coffee Cup, there were 6 semis that never even touched the brakes going around the corner. So if the sheriff will go out and talk to that pit manager, I think it may slow down some of that construction traffic.
Okay, can I give you just a quick update?
Yes.
Talked to Jonah this morning. I talked with Craig this afternoon. Craig has been in touch with the gentleman at the county who's in charge of the roads. I did have quite a conversation with Jonah this morning. He's not at this meeting. He'll be at the first one in July. I left Keely a message to that regard. She did text me back that got my message, thanked me for us taking this under advisement and talking about it.
Good. All right, now, from my side.
Oh, okay, now it's gonna get fun.
What is the city ordinance on scooters and electric bikes? And have you had discussions?
Yes,
And what are you going to do about it?
we don't know, to be honest with you. We don't know.
So if a scooter goes on the bike path, are they legal on the bike path?
Yes, they are because of their, and Jonah talked about it at our last.
Lower speed.
Well, it's not this, it's the motor, it's a small motor, you know, so it's, so they are legal, to put it simply, they are legal on the bike paths.
They're not legal on the streets.
Right.
And they're all, there's a lot of them driving on the streets.
We are going to have a tragedy in this town at some point in time, and I hope it's a lot longer than sooner. But in the last month, I've witnessed 4 near falls with kids on scooters that come down the sidewalk, blow right off the sidewalk, right across the street, out in front of people.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the solution to this is, but I don't want to see some child run over, and I don't want somebody to have the guilt of running over that child.
Completely understand.
I know the sheriff's department, a lot of you probably saw that message about
Yes.
scooters. They put that out on
Yeah, can I-
their department. It was copied on Hartford Happenings. And I think Jonah, what he's told me, has tried to follow a couple of them home and talk with their parents. I think that's where it all starts, is, trying to talk with their
Well,
parents.
I watched 3 kids blow out into
Yeah.
Nicholson off a fire one day with the sheriff's deputy sitting there in a little stub street at the end of the fire. And he didn't pay any attention to them at all. And I stopped and said, hey, did you see those kids blow the stop sign on their scooters? And he said, no, gosh, they didn't see anything. I'll try to pay closer attention.
I think maybe it's a village type time where people need to start. They see something, follow the kid home.
I don't know, it just absolutely worries me. that I'm
This is
gonna see
probably
it.
the fourth or fifth time we've
Yeah.
talked about it, and I know,
But I think you need to consider hard scooters on the bike paths.
I think the fire department's gonna bring some stuff up too at safety day. With the scooters and stuff like that too.
what are you suggesting?
Scooters on the bike paths, knocks next.
Why? I mean, I don't want to get into why, but there's been a lot of debate on statewide with, electric bikes. We're into a new era of transportation, so I think I'm certainly not at the point of saying, hey, no scooters on the bike path. Well, it's like, these things are small. People ride their bikes 20 miles an hour on there. Those scooters typically go up to 20. But if you take them off the bike path, if they can't cruise that, then a byproduct of that could be they're going on the road more. So at least the bike paths offer some of that ability for the kids to cruise. I'd rather have them flying on that than down the road.
My fear, the story, Tony, that I shared early on, 2 or 3 meetings ago, Deb was backing out of the garage and went flying right behind her. Good thing she has a backup camera on her Honda. It scared the dickens out of, I mean, they were right on the sidewalk, right behind her. So, I don't know, I wish I had an answer, I don't. It's one of those things, I don't know, other than condemning them, I don't know how we ordinance this deal.
I don't count, as my near misses, I don't count the 2 or 3 times that same thing has happened to me coming
Yeah.
out of the garage.
Right.
I don't think anybody disagrees.
No.
I think
The reason I bring up the bike path thing is, again, I mean, I can sit on my deck and watch things going on the bike path. And I've seen tangle-ups with people walking their dogs on leashes and
Yeah.
scooters a couple, 3 times already. I've never seen it ever happen with a bicycle. But I've seen it happen 2 or 3 times this spring with scooters. And we do have a sign that says no motorized vehicles on the bike path.
Yeah, I understand.
It's outlaw.
I think that's what you, I mean, they cannot be on the streets. So if we say they can't be on the bike path or sidewalk,
I guess they just have to park the darn things, huh?
that would be a very popular message to all the parents of young children in this
Yeah,
town.
we wanted to get people to run.
Seems unenforceable.
It's on again.
But, yes, Tony, we've been talking about it,
Okay,
so.
I haven't been to meetings for a while, so I don't know
Yep,
yet.
no,
It's
Yeah.
challenging, for sure.
It's been heavy on my heart and heavy on my head, and I wanted to do
A lot of people's.
ours too.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks, Tony.
Turn Hartford.
I have one short public comment. On 6th Street, there's a 20-mile-an-hour sign. It's kind of covered up by some trees. It's on the south side of the road there, and it's just not very visible. So I don't know if that's the property owner that has to take care of that, or if the city should go there and cut that and make that sign more visible or move it. But I've had 2 neighbors approach me on it, so.
If it's something that needs to be taken care of right away, we usually take care of it.
Okay.
Otherwise, we'll send a letter to the homeowner.
It almost just seems like that sign is really not super visible because it's right under a tree. So like I said, I had 2 neighbors come up to me in the last month and
Yep.
we got speeders on our road too, and Oaks. I had a person talk to me on Oaks. I don't know what to do about the speeders.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do, except one thing that I did do about 3 years ago, on my, you can't do this on Colton Road. Person was, repeat offender, and I actually stopped him out. I walked out and I stopped the young guy and I talked to him. That was 3, 4 years ago. Every time he drives by my road now, super slow. I just had a conversation with him. Can't do that on Colton Road, but
I don't know, I'd be afraid to do it on Munt, between First and
yeah,
Second.
we do have a speeding problem. I would love to see, public comment time. I would love, and I wish Jonah was here, and I've been saying this for a couple of years, I would love to see a little bit more aggressive patrol within the city, and then versus on Western Avenue or 38, all those places, but I would like to personally see
Yeah.
an aggressive patrol, like where there's a lot more foot traffic and people. Been saying it for years. So I never see
Yeah.
anybody pull
Yeah.
over in
Yeah.
town. I see them pull over on the outskirts of town, and that's great, but, we're paying the sheriff's department 200 plus grand a year, and that's great, I'm happy to do that. But I would love to see more aggressive patrol within the town, where people are walking, because there's no sidewalks, where there's scooters, crossing the roads, or on the roads, driving the wrong way, all of those things. That is a large part of the community. I don't care if someone's going 10 over on Westcraft. I don't care. I care if someone's going 10 over down Munt, on Oaks. So we do need a little bit of an aggressive patrol on that end and some tickets. I hate to say it, we need some tickets handed out. There's my spiel.
We're real close to budget time, we just maybe have our own law enforcement. As a, just.
Okay, let's get sidewalks done first, okay?
Got him off of that one. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. All right, any other public comments? If not, we amended the agenda to move Scotty up to review approved request to allocate 2025 operating budgets for the HACC. Come on up, Scotty.
For those following along, it's page 72 in the packet, so.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to keep you here all night, have you go first and then go last.
I
so.
appreciate it. Tony asked me if I requested this, and I'm like, I had nothing to do with it, so I appreciate the courtesy there.
Well, you know why he asked, because if he requests something like that,
I don't get it.
Yeah, you're stuck here all day.
yeah.
I swear I didn't. He just did me a courtesy, so I appreciate it.
All right,
Thank you very
this is allocated funds, right? Or less than what
Yes,
they?
it's in budget, because
Yeah.
we
Okay.
put this in budget
Yep.
last year for 2025. So it is budgeted funds, and that's what they're requesting is the of their 2025 budget funds.
Money for the chamber, Daryl, just so you know, comes from, we do a third penny sales tax, and that's what funds groups like the Chamber, Development Foundation, other marketing type organizations. So, how's things with the chamber?
Really well.
Yeah.
Discover Hartford was awesome.
Yeah.
It was by far the best event we've had in quite some time now.
Good.
I know everyone is really ramped up for the block party as well coming up next month. So right now, things are doing great. With Jill being our new director, she basically hit the ground running, and I mean running. She has done a phenomenal job.
Good.
Is she doing the social media?
Yeah.
That's amazing. She's
Yeah.
really doing,
So one of
she's
the,
really doing an amazing job on the social media.
one of the things she actually started doing for us for our board meetings is she gives us a social media report
Yep.
on just like the amount of traction all of our posts and things like that get. Before, I mean, we could have access to it, but we never really like documented it the way she does. And over the last couple months, you can definitely see a lot more pickup in traction as far as like likes, comments, things like that, views, that kind of stuff on our social media pages. So, yeah, she's done a very, very good job with that.
And it's really interesting to see those things. We do that for the market. We have a person designated, and it's if you put the effort into that social media, it grows like
Oh, yeah.
no tomorrow. She's done a great job.
Yeah, she certainly has.
Yeah.
Yep, and thank you very much for noticing that.
Yeah.
I had a talk with Jill this week. We had Travis and I had a little question on the, what do you call that? Community guide.
Discover or
Community guide.
yeah.
So we talked with her about that. We had a question on that.
Okay.
So, I think we got it straight. I don't know. I
It
think
is a chamber. it's a
Chambers handled it.
Is the
Yes.
chamber doing it
Yeah.
this year? Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
The torch was passed from the HADF to the chamber.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
So, yeah, I had a nice visit with her, and I hadn't talked with her for a while, and she said things are going great also, so that's why I wanted to ask.
Yeah, she has been doing a wonderful job. We are all more than thrilled to have her on board with
Good.
us. So. Cool. Do any of you have any questions for me or anything to go over further discussion?
I don't think so. We'll be, again, doing budgets here shortly, so I'm assuming you guys will put together some sort of a request for the
Correct.
next year.
Yep.
And,
We as a chamber do have one question for the city. So since we had basically taken over the director position. It was our understanding that the city would still help us with the cost of that position. So how would we go about that?
That's a great question.
Is that something we would discuss tonight, or?
I would say when you get ready to put in your budget request, we should probably have that conversation then.
Okay, sounds good.
Don't you think, Teresa? That'd be the
Yeah, there's
best.
nothing in this year's budget for the chamber to have that money unless you guys decide differently.
I was gonna say,
So
I
you-
feel like
That's up
I'm
to
on
you
the
guys.
same page as Scott. I think we said we would support
Yes, we did.
that
We did.
because
You
we
guys
had
decided.
dollars in the budget. It's not in the right spot,
Right.
but we did have budget for that position.
Do you need
So-
funds this year? for
I'm
that?
sorry?
Do you need funds for, I'm sorry, I'm like talking. Do you need funds for that this year?
Honestly, I would have to have further conversation with Keith, our treasurer, on that.
Okay.
I would do that.
I can't
Yeah.
give a definitive yes or no on that tonight.
I don't think you have to. I just, if you need it, come to us, we'll. I
Okay.
think-
Yeah,
I
have
don't wanna
Keith
speak
put the
on it.
numbers together,
Yeah, yeah.
and to the extent they're similar to what we had planned
Yep.
for. expenses.
That was the agreement.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So yes, if you request it properly, it looks positive.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, yeah, none of us can speak for the entire council, but I'm, I've got a good feeling, I guess, like Cindy said, so.
So, anybody else got any questions for Scotty? If not, we'll act on his request here.
I do have a question about the chamber sitting on a fair amount of cash. What's the intent with that cash?
One thing that we started to do, especially during Discover Hartford, is we are really focusing on ramping up our marketing. We did mobile billboards, we did radio ads. We are really, really trying to ramp up advertising, not just with Discover Hartford, but all of our events that we have coming up. Trying to put together and organize new events. There's been some ideas tossed around for possibly doing a new event coming out in the fall as well.
Sounds good.
That would be something great to have Keith or whoever, wants to talk about money for HAs, for the chamber, like as you come for next budget year, to kind of talk about what that fund is there for, what the plans are for that,
Yep.
if anything, or what it's being reserved for. I think that would just be helpful to know as we go into another budget year.
Sounds
There's a
good.
fair bit in Edward Jones, and people tend to think of that as like a put and keep kind of an account normally. And this seems a little unusual for a chamber, if they don't have a long-term plan for that money.
Vision, yeah.
Yeah, what's the vision for those
Yeah.
funds? Would be something to discuss amongst your group. I don't even know how it got there or how long it's been there, but it was brought to my attention, and I was like, it's a nice nest egg. We could say no for a long time to you guys, and you'd be okay.
So, well, for a little bit. For a little bit.
If I was sitting on that, I would retire
No, you wouldn't.
for the rest of the year.
For the next month.
You'd retire for about a week, and then you'd go buy a boat.
It would be nice to have it addressed maybe during your next budget
Yep.
request for
Yeah, I
sure.
think that's, yeah.
I can tell you, Travis, with your curiosity on that, basically it was couple, I want to say 2, maybe 3 years ago, the absolute most. We started that account, and we did like an 18-month on it, and so on and so forth. And then we just decided at that point, when it came back up, just to
Roll it over.
Roll.
Yeah.
Sure. So, earning a solid 4% probably, or something like that. Maybe 6.
I don't remember the exact percentage on it, to tell you the truth.
No
Well,
worries.
actually,
No worries. I
I
don't,
was gonna say,
I
maybe-
We don't need to know.
we don't need to get,
We
we don't
can
need
go
to
down
deep
the rabbit
dive
hole
into
during
that.
budget if
We
you
don't need
want
to deep
to.
dive into that. Just kind of wondering if I should move my money over to Edward Jones.
You're just doing some research.
Scotty knows the guy.
Research. Scotty knows the guy.
All right, I'm gonna make a motion
Okay.
to release the $15,000 2025 budget allocation to the chamber.
All right?
I will second that.
Any other
All
dis-
of my
After all of your commentary. Any other discussion on this matter? Hearing none, we'll vote. Now I gotta get this right. Schilling,
Yes.
Horacek,
Yes.
Keel.
Yes.
Horn.
Yes.
Bowen.
No.
Mattson.
Yes.
All right, that's 5-1, that passes.
I've done small bills or?
Yeah,
Check.
How about Hartford bucks? You take Hartford bucks?
I don't know how that works.
we're going to talk later on in the agenda about a marketing plan that we've been talking about. I would ask you, maybe as your executive group, to have discussions and see how you'd feel about I'm going to call it a umbrella committee that would work on marketing Hartford as one entity.
Okay.
Rather than having, you guys do this, these guys do this, these guys do. Try to get some continuity going amongst all of the groups,
Okay.
okay?
Yeah.
Wouldn't take their individual opportunities away, but.
No,
It would
umbrella.
bring things.
I'm just looking to umbrella this deal so we look like we got a cohesive
Sure.
story.
Just kind of uniform
Yep,
everything.
yep, yep.
Cool.
I like that idea.
Well, if you like it, then
Arden likes it.
Sounds
I like it too.
Thank you.
All
very
right,
much,
thanks,
Scotty.
Scotty.
Well, Scotty's still up here.
Oh, yeah.
We got the special event application,
You want
right?
to,
Yeah, please, yeah, take it over. Maybe you can appoint me.
Karen's over there.
Karen's gonna say it again. Don't make her.
So.
Okay, let's move to applications, agreements, hearings. First up is special event application for Hartford Area Chamber. Go, Ryan.
So Jill just changed, I think the only thing that was changed from last time when she showed up is the closure area, right? I mean,
Right.
you may not know, I got it, yeah, but either way, so.
I'm aware of it.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so I don't think anything's changed, so I'll just make a motion to approve special event application for the Hartford Chamber of Commerce Downtown Block Party.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mattson.
Yes.
Bowen.
Yes.
Horn.
Yes.
Keel.
Yes.
Horacek.
Yes.
Schilling.
Yes.
All right.
Now there's a deed of revocation next, so just.
Thanks, Scotty.
Appreciate it, Scott.
It's been a tough day for the mayor, I'm just telling you. It's been a tough day for the mayor. You guys are making it worse. Thanks, Scotty.
Thank you.
You bet.
Run, we're in as fast as you can.
Yeah, get out of here while you can. Oh, okay. Next up, we have a deed of revocation of declaration of covenants and restrictions for Interstate Inn, second edition. This is the land that Lonnie Heyer, owner of Dairy Queen, owns the lot just north of him. And he has asked the city to sign and approve a deed of revocation and declaration of covenants and restrictions for this land. This goes way back.
I say it's all of Interstate Inn's second edition, so it's
Yeah.
Lonnie's land all the way down basically to the motel. That whole area at one time used to be owned by Milford Tim, and he developed it. At that time, it was only about 4 lots. Since that time, it has been replatted and split up into different owners and different lots. Lonnie does have somebody who's looking to purchase that lot north of them. As they're going through their due diligence, the original, restrictions and covenants came up. The seller is asking that be updated. And basically, this revocation of the old ones allows them to implement new ones. They just basically want it all updated. 2 things need to happen as far as the city goes that he's asking the city to do. Since we, originally the city did not own any land in there, but when we redid Diamond Trail, that basically goes back into the hotel there, that street is city-owned property. So now we are part of Interstate Inn's that addition. We own property in there. So they would ask us to sign as one of the landowners this deed of revocation. Then after that's done, the next step is basically just approving the whole document, because in state law it says to do this, the governing board of the city needs to approve the document. So kind of it's a two-step process. We need to have the mayor sign as a landowner in that addition, and then approve the deed of revocation. Tom has looked this all over. He says this is normal business. He has looked at the wording, says shouldn't be any issues with it at all. Like I said, they're just getting rid of the old covenants so they can do new covenants for it.
Do we need to do these two separate, or can they be done?
I would do
as-
two separate motions.
Okay.
The one to approve. Yeah.
It doesn't affect South Diamond Circle.
No, it goes down to the church, I believe.
That's Stubb Road.
I think they're one of them.
Well, Diamond Trail goes east to Diamond Circle.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Yes,
we only need to worry about Diamond Trail.
yes.
The city doesn't, we
Own-
can take the ownership of the frontage road essentially in front of the Dairy Queen or any of that.
Oh, no, it has nothing to
that.
do with that frontage road,
And it has
no.
nothing to do with South
All it
Diamond
is
Circle.
Diamond, yeah. Diamond
Just
Trail.
the-
South Diamond Trail.
Straight shot that
Or
runs
Diamond
east
Trail.
and west.
Yes.
Diamond Trail.
Diamond
Yes.
Trail, okay.
Yes, that frontage road,
Yeah.
we have nothing to do, no ownership in that, no maintenance, nothing, yeah.
Okay.
So we do we do clear the snow on Diamond Trail, Diamond Circle.
Diamond Circle, but not that frontage road
Not the
like you're
frontage
talking
road.
about, yeah.
Okay.
That's a private.
Do we own that Diamond Circle Road? Is that the city's?
Yes, we own all of it.
So we own that,
Diamond Trail
too?
and Diamond Circle. They're two different H plots. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Diamond Trail was moved. It's not the original location of Diamond Trail.
The,
so,
here you got.
Right.
Yeah.
Replatted, yep, and that's one of the
Okay.
things with the old ones, that
Yep.
things got replatted,
Yep.
moved around, different
Yep.
owners, and so that's why
So this clears all that up.
this would clear all of that up, yeah.
Motion to approve the mayor and the finance officer to sign the deed of revocation.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Schilling.
Yes.
Horacek.
Yes.
Keel.
Yes.
Horn.
Yes.
Bowen.
Yes.
Mattson.
Yes.
Okay, then the second one is the resolution.
The resolution.
Motion to approve the adoption of resolution 2025-5 that approves the deed of revocation.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mattson.
Yes.
Bowen.
Yes.
Horn.
Yes.
Keel.
Yes.
Horacek.
Yes.
Schilling.
Yes.
All right, take care of those two. Next up, under applications, agreements, hearings, resolutions, ordinances, we have policy 2025-1. This is our tax increment funding guidelines that we've been talking about for a few meetings. Did P and Z look at these?
Yes.
And
And like I said, this is just a
Or recommend
proposal
for approval.
for a policy to adopt, because we've talked about putting in some guidelines for when a developer wants to come to the city and ask for a TIF. The draft was from, the majority of it is from Mitchell and Lennox. I went out to other cities to get copies of theirs. Mitchell and Lennox had probably the simplest one, and that is what I basically follow this off of. Like I said, it has some basic wording about, following state law, and you gotta meet those criteria that the state requires for a TIF district. But then section 3 is probably the biggest thing, is what are our TIF
Right.
criteria? What do we wanna see put in place? We talked about, like, when the Windsor Group came to us, it would be best to see those requests for TIFs on the front side before they start doing work, because initially this whole concept was developed to basically give an incentive, or to help incentivize developers, give them money so they're able to do a project to basically improve blighted or improve land that, otherwise would not have any improvements on it, so would not have any tax increases for the city or whatnot. So that's what a TIF was originally designed to do. They're becoming very popular with developers, though, too, and we will get more and more in front of them. I have more questions about them all the time, so this is, I think, a good step. Given a little bit of criteria, it'll help staff being able to, okay, here's our checklist of what's needed to do a TIF.
Yep.
Do you have all these things? And then we can move forward with it. It'll help developers, it'll help staff, it'll help the boards, the P and Z board and you guys, because both of you have to, set the
Yep.
districts and approve the plan, so it gives some guidelines of what are we looking for and do they check all the boxes.
You said it blighted, and one could argue, it'd be a tough argument to say undeveloped parcel is blighted.
Right.
It's, and so there needs to be a substantial amount of other criteria, and so it looks like we've got a great start here.
How does this affect, we have one that we've designated a district, one that we've signed a memorandum of understanding. So are they outside of I would assume that they will be outside of this criteria?
So the two that we've already set the districts for, Maple Pass and Windsor, this is before TIF criteria came into play, so we'll move forward with those. The memorandum of understanding, that's totally going to be up to you guys, because basically, there's nothing that
Okay.
we don't really have to honor.
Guidelines.
So it's just a memorandum of understanding, so it's how you guys feel moving forward with that one. Yeah. There's
Since
nothing
we've had
legally
con-
obligating us to
Right,
do that
but
one.
since we've had conversation with
Yes.
them, that's,
Yep, so it's gonna be totally at, the P and Z boards and
Right.
city council boards
I
discretion.
can guess that they would probably say, well, we've been having conversation, we knew nothing about this when we
And I
started the
do know we
conversation.
finally got their plat of the
Yes.
district, the area that they want, and that they do wanna come to P and Z's next meeting to create the district. That's the first step, going to
Okay.
P and Z, and then to you guys, so.
Okay,
So you would send this to them if we approve it tonight?
Huh?
You'd send this to them?
Oh,
the
yes.
Checklist pretty quickly?
Yeah, if it does get approved, yeah.
It's got an application fee in there, which I like,
Yep.
of which 50% would be refundable if the TIF is not approved, which I
Correct.
think is fair,
it has
because there's some legal implications, there's some costs to the
Yep,
city.
I'm gonna say,
Yep.
we review it, our attorney reviews it, I mean, there is some time and cost.
Especially since we lay out a checklist and some criteria for them, I think they should
Yep.
have a good idea.
Yep.
Do we, I know these are guidelines, but I was just reading through here, do we need to put anything in there that it's up to the council's discretionary if we want to approve one or not? Is that anything that we need to put in
Well,
there?
it's always up to the council's discretion, as
I
the
mean,
P and
if
Z
we
boards
wanna-
too, because
yeah.
the P and Z board doesn't approve it, doesn't include it.
And so then, with
Yeah.
our process though, so we send these to potential developers that are seeking to do a TIF,
that have asked, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not gonna slingshot them out. Hey, who wants to do a TIF?
No, we're not gonna publicize it out there here. Look at Tiff here.
So are we looking for them to answer all of these questions in here? Like, what's their communication back to us, I guess, once we send this?
So if they inquire about a TIF, my plan is, that's why I developed the application, is send them out this application so they can fill out all the pertinent information. It has basically our checklist on all these things, that we need to look
Yep.
at and that, coincide with our policy. And they have to send the application plus this information back to us, that staff will review it, city attorney will review it. There may be discussions with our engineers about certain things, so, yeah, so then we go through our review process. And then it will start, if everything looks good, they meet our criteria and whatnot, they still gotta go through the whole process of create the district with the P and Z board and you guys. Then we've gotta get state classification on it. Then they have to get the plan approved for the P and Z.
Yeah.
They still gotta go through
Yeah,
all the
there's-
steps. This just helps on the front side
Yeah.
to make sure,
And hopefully save some work for
Yeah,
people that
so-
don't
Yes.
have their things quite together.
Yep, so another question, this is more of a hypothetical, because, obviously, we've seen an influx of these. I assume in the next 3, 4, 5 years, we're gonna see, it's not gonna be
It's
our
gonna
last
be more.
time.
Right.
So the question I have, and this is more maybe just a smart thought or a little bit of conversation, at what point do we say no to a TIF? Because what I'm afraid of is, right now, we have one active TIF, and that's great. Right now, we've got 2 other ones that we're looking at. And let's say in 2 more years, we have another 2 or 3 TIFs. Next thing you know, we have 5 TIFs going on. We've got infrastructure being built. We have maintenance, we have to hire more maintenance people, a lot of upkeep. Is there a point where we say no I guess, taking the temperature, at like, what point do we say no? What happens if we have 5 or 6 of these things going? Because I haven't seen, and this is more because we haven't been presented with a lot of them. I'm just concerned that for the future, that there's gonna be some abuse of this. And I get it. I get the pros and cons of TIFs. But I am a little bit afraid that in the long term, you know, we can't see into the future, but I'm a little bit concerned when we, the taxpayers, right, have a lot of upkeep and a lot of costs going into these things. And yeah, we're not getting that money right now. We will, Lord willing, one day, but I don't.
How long do you plan to sit on council?
Until someone runs against me and beats me.
So you're probably gonna have a few of these to deal with.
Yeah.
That's a fair question. But honestly, we could put a moratorium on them at any time.
Right.
Like I say,
We've
it's
got enough
always up to
housing
your guys'
development
discretion.
and projects, we can just say,
More.
And with this, you know, policy, and this is just a policy, it doesn't mean that you say yes or no.
Right.
follow
Well, I
it,
think the
but
policy's great, 100%.
This gives you a little bit of guidelines. You've got to meet these guidelines, and if you can't, then we're not going to approve it. Even if they meet the guidelines, I mean, they still, part of this policy was you got to show the need for it, you know?
Correct.
And if you think it's not a good fit for the city, if their need is not a good return on the city, I wouldn't approve the TIF.
Right.
You know, it needs to, you know, be something that's good for the city, you know, and that's why you'd approve it.
Thinking really obscure here, but I'm sorry, I'm thinking really obscure here, but let's just say you get a bunch of maybe subsidized housing or multifamily housing that brings a large influx of kids into the school district that need financial aid, right? Like they need assistance
Would be a
with their
strain on the
meals and
school
other
district,
things.
yeah.
And the school district comes to us and they're like, we need a
Time out.
break.
Yeah.
We can't handle anymore. There's, you know, when the community comes back to us and starts to say, hey, this is what we're seeing, this is what's happening, we just need to be
Yeah,
aware.
Gotta be aware.
alert for that stuff.
Consideration to.
Tony?
I want to share with you guys some of the discussion that's gone on at our P&Z meetings.
Yeah.
Addresses a little bit, Sean, of what you're saying there. Part of state statute and the guidelines on this is the developer's supposed to basically show the project would not happen without the tax, without the TIF district.
Yeah.
And we've had some pretty in-depth discussions when we first went with Maple Pass, and again, when we sent Windsor Group to you guys. And some of that was based around, we can look at Windsor Group and say, you're telling me this project wouldn't happen without a TIF, when all the grading work's already been going. I mean, but another piece of it that we've had the discussions is, this is supposed to be economic development.
Yes.
The TIF is supposed to bring economic development. So I think what we've discussed before is, when we're seeing in a TIF where there's a plan that does good economic development, that's a good TIF to do. If it's a plan that there's gonna be 3 empty commercial lots that nothing ever gets built on, but there's gonna be a bunch of streets and houses go in, that's not economic development, that's not a good TIF.
Right.
So I think that discussion's gone on in our meetings, and I think it's something for you guys to think forward to. Given kudos to Maple Passes, I mean, that was the first one we had, and we were all like, but they already were showing us verticality in their plan when they were asking to get the TIF put together. And I think that's one other thing that we're gonna continue to discuss
Yep.
in our P&Z meetings, and you guys also, as Mr. Developer, what's your plan to go vertical? Because Sean, to answer you, when we're gonna see the money, the sooner they go vertical, the sooner the city's gonna start seeing the money.
Correct.
I think the checkpoints that are presented here take it from a seat of the pants or gut instinct, will this work, to they're gonna lay out some criteria to show us it's gonna work.
Yeah. I'm very
And why it's
happy.
gonna work.
I'm very happy to see these guidelines.
Yep.
It's gonna be good for us as a P&Z board also.
Yep.
To have those things out there, and obviously it's gonna be helpful to you folks, so.
You betcha. All right, thank you.
It's a motion to approve policy 2025-1.
second.
Any other discussion? Thanks for all your work on this, Teresa. Justin, did you guys, Michael, did you guys look at this?
Mitch?
Don't call him Mitch. He doesn't want that. That's hurtful almost. All right.
Sorry, I couldn't resist. You've been called a lot worse than Mitch.
Yeah. All right, hearing none, we'll vote. Mattson?
Yes.
Bowen?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
Keel? Yeah. Horacek?
Yes.
Schilling?
Yes.
Thank you. Wow, he's gonna be waiting in the parking lot. All right, let's go to reports. First up, Hartford area fire and rescue. The chief comes once a quarter. He is not here tonight, so his report is in the packet. Looks like they again had a busy, month, it looks like. All right, we'll move to the favorite part of the evening, the engineer's report. Michael, I'll call you Michael. Michael. I gotta remember that.
Good evening, everyone. Continue to review site plans and plats as they come in. It's been a busy month on the plat side of things. County chip seal project drove up prior to this meeting. That looks done, looks pretty good. Happy with the work they've done there. Slurry still planned for mid-July. I haven't heard an update from the contractor otherwise, so I'll hold steady and update you if something changes. And then lastly, on the TAP grant for the proposed bike trail along the south side of Mickelson Road, we did get that work order from the SCDOT, and we're working with them to execute it. Once that's done through and approved, we can start work on our survey and get design going, so we can keep the project moving.
That would be also a big safety improvement.
Correct.
There's a
Yep.
lot of people walking on that road, and it's not a good walking road.
Yeah, that'd be a great idea.
Moving on to the project updates, a real quick one on the water facility, just continuing to work on the startup with the biological startup of the actual wastewater planned for later this month or early next, just as a few other things ahead of it fall into place.
Question on that, is it something we source locally? Can we pull it out of our lagoons, or do you have to?
We're getting it from the
Sioux Falls.
city of Sioux Falls. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, Sioux Falls, they're gonna be doing some asphalt work around the main plant there, and there might be some periods that we won't be able to get in there, but Harrisburg said we can get some seed sludge from them too, so.
That's interesting.
Seed sludge. I didn't know there was a market for that.
Well, it's free.
Oh, it's free. Okay, thanks, Greg. You're a good negotiator, I'll tell you.
Moving on to Western Avenue, as I'm sure you've noticed, got the aggregate base course down, curb and gutter has been installed. Most of the fillets at the intersections where the curb kind of curves around the corner, those have been constructed as well. One of the 2 turn lanes in this phase has been installed, and once the remaining fillet and turn lane are completed, they will do main line down the road. I'm excited for it. It's pretty neat. They're going to do it full 36 foot wide the whole way, so it'll be quite the operation. Weather dependent, looking like that main line paving will occur next week. So
Did you say they're gonna pave that whole section in one pass? Is that equipment made in Canton, or where is that?
No, that's
I believe,
Ida Grove, that's Comaco.
Oh, that's, Comaco, yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting, all right.
cool.
Yeah, exciting times.
It's got some plastics on it to possibly actually.
There you go. And then, yep, once that paving is secured over to traffic, we'll coordinate time, get traffic switched over to phase 2 and start the process all over again for the next phase. On the Parks Master Plan, final internal.
Hold on,
review-
can I,
Yes.
I want to stop you on Western for a second. Nope, never mind. I can't remember what I was going to say. Oh, I know what it was. So when you do that roll test,
Yes.
and then we had to go with heavier fabric?
Yep.
What's the plan then? Do they roll test that again, or how?
They did do another roll test
Oh,
on it.
okay.
Just to see make sure it's holding up, so.
Yep.
Okay.
So we roll the subgrade, which
Yep.
that's where the fabric goes.
Yep.
And then once you place the aggregate base course, then you roll test it again.
Okay.
And so we roll tested that, that looked really good.
So when we replace this fabric then, you did another, then roll tested it again then, or no?
They didn't put the fabric down yet, but we did the roll test on the subgrade.
Yes.
Okay.
Seen that it wasn't holding up the way we were hoping
Okay.
it would.
Correct.
So that's when they went with other fabric.
Okay.
Just to get the
Okay.
stability out of it.
That's what I was, took me a second there to,
Skip, didn't want to skip the Parks Master Plan real quick. Final internal review of that is underway, and final report edits are being made. Anticipated delivery date for this in next.
We were going to try to shoot for this Friday.
Correct. So, shooting for this Friday is for the final deliverable on the Parks Master Plan. Moving on to Swenson Park, we are wrapping up plans and specs ahead of the proposed bidding and construction schedule, which is provided in the report. Due to the timing of this council meeting and the 4th, I wouldn't be able to get it published this week in the paper as the cutoff for publications this Wednesday, but would anticipate that getting that published next week, and then bid towards the end of July with bid review and approval of the contract at the first meeting in August, and then August, September construction. Don't anticipate a very long timeline for that work. So work and have some contingencies in the plan, some notes, just to account for some of the practices and such that go on in the area. So making sure that they're done by 5, just so that those ball games are not being impacted by any dust or construction activity. So.
okay. All right, anything else before we move to your action items there?
To the Kelly Avenue drainage study, real quick, we're wrapping up calibration of the existing model. Once that's done, as noted previously, we'll do that with city staff, just make sure it aligns with drainage issues that we see. And everything's good to go there. And last, the citywide water model just got that kicked off internally. And then as things begin to fall into place and AE2S gets started on their portion of it, we'll kick it off with city staff to start some data input from that.
All right.
One thing to note on Western Avenue, the focus is on the main line paving for the roadway section. Once they get all that, they'll come back and do the sidewalk and trails. So just for your guys to know, they're still going to try to get that in this fall, but that may fall into the spring just based on everything else. So our highest priority is to get that road back up to the traffic, and that will occur after
So
that.
how far do they get that process before they start tearing up farther south?
They'll get this opened up so we can divert the traffic all around, and then
Yep.
they'll start tearing out and doing utilities in the next portion.
So after they get it paved, they need some time to get everything ready to rock.
Clear it out and stuff, and
divert.
then get the.
Right,
They'll bring
okay.
the asphalt into the concrete and stuff like that.
So for paving to work, we're not looking over to phase 2 until after the 4th.
That's what I figured.
General rule of thumb is about 7 days. Concrete, it will cure quicker in the summer here just with the
Yeah.
dust and everything.
Okay.
But some backfilling, cleanup work, figure about 7 days.
Yep.
after.
All right. Anybody got any questions? You got anything else, Michael?
That is all I have.
Okay, anybody got any questions for Michael? If not, we got a couple action items we need to deal with.
Correct. The first, as you brought up, Arden, is change order number 3 to D&G Concrete on Western Avenue for $15,145.02. That's an increase of that amount, and that is for the heavier duty fabric, just due to some of that subgrade instability that we observed with the roof roll. So we did include the geotech memo that they had provided when they were out there. They did observe the proof holes and provide that recommendation as well. So, other thing to note is this fabric has been installed, and this does account for increases across the entire project. There won't be a second change order or anything for the fabric for phase 2. So
Right.
this increase is just to swap it out, project
Yep.
wide.
Make a motion to approve change order number 3 to D&G Concrete Construction for $15,145.02.
Second.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Schilling.
Yes.
Parachek.
Yes.
Keel.
Yes.
Horn.
Yep.
Bowen.
Yes.
Mattson. All right?
Yep wasn't too affirmative, so
Yep.
I just figured I'd switch that
Yep.
to yes. So, sorry for that.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, the next one is the approve the advertising for the bids, correct?
For Swenson.
Okay.
budget?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, we
And
budgeted the
I
money
want to
for
tell you,
this. Yep.
I have 125,000, that was a wrong number in budget. We have 250,000, right?
I think it was 215.
215.
Yeah, 215, yeah.
Yep.
You just
I
got the
her
one and the two
flip-flopped.
mixed
I got
up.
her,
Huh.
yeah.
You know what, let's just put 125 out there and see what happens.
See if anybody will bid at it.
They'll see,
Somebody might
yeah.
bite.
They'll
Somebody
see.
might bite. Yeah.
Come on.
I just want to let you know, but that is the amount we budgeted.
Make a motion to approve advertising for bids for the Swenson parking lot improvement project.
Second.
Any other discussion on this one?
What's kind of the timeline? Maybe I missed that if you.
For construction?
Yeah, like if we get bids.
Mid-August, probably through the end of September.
Okay, yeah, perfect.
Without September, so a lot of times seat doesn't want to go until it's still 90 in September, so you can.
Right.
Extra week just to get temperatures come down. Yep.
All right, anything else? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mattson?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
Oh, Mullen, sorry.
No,
Oh,
because you skipped me, I'm voting no.
no. Keel?
Yes.
Haracek?
Yes.
Shelley?
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't do
It's
that.
okay, just.
Wait,
Maybe I did do that. You could have, but it just threw me for a loop, so I was like, yes.
all right, anything else? Michael, Justin, anything else?
Is the bid packet available? Could you send us a link?
Once
Council.
it's finalized, we'll provide that to HSA staff and make sure it's in your boxes.
Ribbon cutting, we can start thinking about the wastewater.
Ribbon cutting for the wastewater treatment plant. I am working diligently every angle I can with my congressional delegation friends, because I would love to have them all three there. I've had really good contacts with both Senator Thune's office and Senator Rounds' office, so I really want to have them all three there.
And then when it dries out, here hopefully in the next couple of weeks, maybe I'll offer another council tour out there. So that's like work.
Yes.
Getting kind of pretty done, so.
Be
Um,
great to see some activated sludge.
Second.
We have a.
Yeah,
helmets
we'll
out
have
there.
everything, yeah.
And let's talk about the question I called and asked you about, because I drove by there and I seen they were laying all that nice gravel on the road, and I thought, are we leaving that gravel? So I called Justin, I said, are we leaving that gravel? And he said, no, we're paving it. And I didn't remember, because it's been so long ago that we looked at those plans.
Not to city standard.
Because will it be curb and gutter?
It is the city standard?
There won't be curb and gutter, will there?
Well, it's not a city street, it's a driveway, it's a
a
private
drive.
drive, so we can't, but we got hard surface,
There we
which is
go.
a city standard.
It's hard surface. Okay,
Sounds good.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not a road, it's a private drive.
Thank you for that clarification.
If you drive out there, it looks like it's been seeded, and it's really, really rough. It has not been seeded. I guess that's just fallen through grass that's coming up through it.
Okay.
I asked him today, I said, who in the hell would seed this?
I have a question you're gonna hate me for.
Oh.
How much, there's quite a bit of land on the side of our driveway out there. Like, seems like we would have ample water available out there to do a community garden out there.
We do not have ample water.
Water supply is actually pretty tricky out there.
So we can't get treated water and use it for redistribution.
Oh.
It's a lot of
I
regulations.
don't think you can use it for, it's pretty stiff regulations on it, yeah.
We'll look into that because we do have some reuse lines set up that might for some of the
I don't know
washed
if
out
you can
and
use it
stuff.
for gardening and
Yeah.
stuff like that. I think you can only use it for turfs.
Boy, that'd be green,
I
man,
was gonna
that'd
say, can you
be.
imagine the size of those tomatoes?
Oh.
Jeez,
But they'd have a weird taste to them.
Would they?
huge. I worked.
Maybe not.
I
All right.
worked- Yeah, I worked at a construction job putting one of those plants in when I was like 20, and the tomatoes on the side of that thing.
We're not gonna top water, we're gonna
Just,
groundwater.
yeah, so.
Okay.
Just a thought.
Interesting.
Really
That's a
not
good
terrible
thought.
idea.
Good idea.
Cindy's down there just
She's just churning out
Working for the
ideas,
community.
just churning.
Churning.
Trying to solve problems.
Yeah, one at a time. Let's move on to the Public Works Superintendent report. Mr. Craig.
Just a couple things to add in my report. I said there's no updates at this time for the streetlights. We did actually get a locate ticket that came through yesterday, so hopefully we'll be getting some lights going on Colton Road and Highway 38. In the water part of it, we did have our 3-year water inspection on Tuesday. That went well. Sewer, I did get the May DMRs filled out and sent in. They all went good. We didn't have any deficiencies of that, so everything went well. And then public buildings, we had our insurance safety inspection, whatever on that, last week, whatever. We actually did better than City Hall did, so just let you know.
City Hall didn't pass because our maintenance guys didn't check our exit lights. I'm just saying.
Fire extinguishers.
Hey, quit throwing rocks, hey, quit throwing rocks.
A lot of blaming going on.
She's right. He came to our shop and he goes, your fire extinguishers are expired or not the maintenance or whatever. I said, no, they're right. And he looks at me and goes, oh, I made a mistake. He goes, I checked City Halls as being outdated too.
And they weren't. He thought they were April or August.
Oh, yeah.
So we're good.
Perfect. No, it all went good, so well, a couple of small recommendations, like majors. A lot of it's training, some stuff online and stuff like that. So it's good.
All
That's all I
right.
got, unless somebody's got something for me.
How about the 15-mile-an-hour speed limit sign by the park?
We are gonna get that up. Yep.
Okay.
I thought I had the locate ticket called in, but apparently I didn't, so I gotta
Okay.
get that taken care of.
Okay.
Is there one that?
Eric actually stopped by our shop today and brought us some more.
Did you
digits.
tell, I hope you told him that I asked you about it.
Yep, I told him, I
Okay.
said, we're getting it, so.
Okay.
Go into that. That's-
Did we lose
No,
one, or is it?
No, so David Road is inside the park area. Well, we've got 15-mile-an-hour speed limits every place around there, but there's nothing on. Not right there.
Right on,
Road.
right across where
We'd
the
like to
apartments
see
are,
one.
across
Yep.
from the pool.
There's one,
feel like
to
it's
the
a
north
theme.
on Vandemark, there's one on Crystal
Yeah,
Drive,
yeah,
3rd Street, 4th Street.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
Put up next week.
I have a
Okay.
quick question. On the mag water, have we received any positive or negative feedback from
Nothing.
from our community member that came?
Nope.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Nothing? Okay.
That
Just
stuff
curious.
works though. That stuff works.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I
Well,
saw-
now with
I
this
saw
inch and a
it was
half
down.
of rain, it might be a different story, but,
Yeah, if you get that slow drizzle that lasts a while, it does get slimy, but then as soon as it
Big
quits,
rain.
it gets hard again.
oh, boy, yeah.
It's like concrete road. It's-
Yep.
We
Well,
did-
thank you.
We did traffic counts out there prior.
Yep.
And then after we mag watered, so I just got the other ones today printed off, so Teresa will have those in the packet, so.
Okay.
Real traffic counts?
Traffic
Real,
counts
with-
and
with-
speeds,
Like with the tubes?
yeah.
Wow.
That's
The
awesome.
prior one is already in your council box packet. I'll add this one
Yeah,
tomorrow.
that's great.
So-
Facts are friendly.
Facts are friendly. All right, anybody else got any questions for Craig?
Thanks, Greg.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, we'll move on to Karen, and you know what she's gonna say.
My report's in the packet.
Let's get going.
I thought it was more of a, let's hurry this up.
Yeah.
The only thing I had to add is our rate on our indexed money market was due to expire here at the end of the month, and they extended it for another 2 months, at 3.25, which is the
That's
same.
good.
So it's not going down anymore, so
Keep making some money.
that's all I got.
It's a nest egg there.
Um,
There's a lot of new park equipment.
I'm assuming the 11 million we had in the bank at the end of May had to do with checks that were gonna be getting paid and,
Yeah, and then plus the Western Avenue sales tax bond
Came
came
in.
in. We haven't really.
Get some
And we need to pay that out, so, yeah.
well, yeah, I meant, gotta make sure there's some money in there.
Yeah, the big increase was we got our sales tax bond, which is gonna pay out for Western Avenue, so.
All right, any questions for Karen? If not, we'll move on to your report, Teresa.
I don't have much for updates either. Like you know, we're still looking for an operator for our wastewater treatment facility. Actually, last week, Tuesday or Wednesday, got a good application in, Class 3 operator, which kind of looks like it meets their standards. So, and I'm back in the office tomorrow. I'm going to try to line up an interview with me and Craig and take a look at this person. Craig got me a list of, we talked about looking at other class 2 or 3 operators within the state. I've got those names, got a letter put together, so I'll be sending those out too to hopefully encourage anybody else who may be interested in applying, so
Yep.
we'll take a look at them, so.
And this applicant is actually on the list that we put together. So.
Yeah, he's one of the people on the list.
beautiful. Okay.
Yeah, so. and-
He's already working for somebody, some other city.
Yeah,
Nice.
So,
I shouldn't say that.
so that's encouraging that.
Yeah, I'm
before we even
hiring
reach
over at
out-
Solid Rock if any of you guys, are looking, so. That's perfect, I love those, I love that.
Yeah. Besides my other updates in there, like I mentioned earlier in the meeting, when we talking about TIFs, Sam Masson does plan to come to the next P and Z meeting, the July 8th one, and ask for creation of his district, not approval plan, but creation of the district, so we'll see how that goes.
You have to meet the criteria we just approved.
He will when I send it tomorrow,
Okay.
so we'll see how that goes. I don't know, do you have an update from the Park and Rec meeting? Because I was there about the concession stand. Did they have any discussion on it? I wasn't at the Monday meeting.
Nothing really in the last things we are there, the meeting for the
Okay.
concession part of it anyway. So.
Okay.
They're just working on a bunch of stuff, yeah.
Were we talking about the concession stand? I had a great idea.
Great.
Anybody that requests money from the city, you sign up one time to run the concession stand.
My equipment's good.
What's that?
My equipment's good.
He's not requesting anything.
I'm talking, non-governmental organizations, NGOs, Hey, you want money? Great. We'll consider it if you go sell some hot dogs.
Some glizzies.
Do a match.
I think,
Sell some glizzies.
I think as another part of that same plan, when we get ready for school to start, I think we need to be talking to the school organizations as soon as they start in the fall.
Well, the other thing I've been pondering, when I ask about events out there, and when I look at the schedule, it's almost all practices.
And no games.
It is.
What are we trying to
Right.
run a concession stand
Right.
for if the high school baseball team?
The only ones
if
that
there's-
really have games out there is the high school softball and then the softball association. Otherwise, the rest, the soccer's are just practices. Play football, I guess, has some.
I mean, I guess I'm like, is this really a problem or not?
They
Um,
don't get the rest, so I don't know.
I think the school did the softball parents, didn't they run it?
The
during this?
Booster Club did all the high school.
And that worked out pretty
It
well.
worked out good. I was in contact with her and she said,
It's
yeah, they were
really-
making some money.
it's the softball
That's what the
association
Booster- I mean,
games.
they run it every night at the school,
Yeah.
so I think they're in a good position for school sports. So that was as
Yeah.
I continue to ponder, like,
Right.
what else is happening out there regularly?
I
Because I
think
did
they'll-
go out and look at the schedule, and it's full of practices.
Oh, it is fun, yeah.
I think though, Cindy, it's the softball association. That's, Greg Hartman's one of the coaches,
Yep.
he's on that committee. We've talked about it a couple
Yeah, he was
times.
here.
And that's not the high school.
That's not the high school, that's the West Central or whatever they
That's
call it.
the Hartford area softball
softball.
association. Yes, they have several.
That's
games
the
out there.
group that I think we need to be working because
That's
they're
the
the
ones
ones
that
that are
have
using it the most.
Yeah, and they're trying to get a tournament together in July.
Right.
So I mentioned
So-
about the concession stand, they said that they were going to have that, they'd have people there if it's available.
Okay.
I think it might solve itself.
Yeah,
Yeah, it might, as they want to have more tournaments
Yeah.
and stuff, they might find their own help. so.
And my understanding is the Sports Complex Committee still exists in some shape or form.
Nice.
There's still a trailer that gets filled up with aluminum cans.
I
So
think so too. I
unless
think they
that's funded in
exist.
Someone's retirement fund.
Yeah, what they all do, not sure, but, yeah.
It's an Edward Jones account, I'm sure.
yeah. All right. Anything else, Tracy?
I don't have anything, just I'll remind you, if you look at the pack on Friday, but we'll have our regular meeting next week already, next Tuesday, so. We'll have back-to-back meetings, so I just want to remind you, of course, you'll get the email on Friday in the packet, so, but.
You might not get a report.
Oh. Oh,
How about on that Friday? Anybody do
that hurts,
Friday?
that hurts, that's Friday.
It's the 4th of July.
Okay, any
Nope.
questions for Teresa?
Nope. I can-
All right, let's move on to old business. We've tabled this a couple times, and I don't know, honestly, I don't know if we're ready to talk about this or not, but I mentioned it to Scotty, the chamber president, I really want to come up with a plan that we have an overarching,
That's a great idea. Would you reach out to who created our logo or what's their?
we have talked with them,
Yeah.
yes.
Let's get some dollars. Let's get some, so we know kind of maybe what to budget for it. I don't see any issues with it.
So-
It's been discussed enough that.
So I sent out, after we talked to them, I sent out an email. They need some more information before they can put together a cost
Right.
of what we want.
Right.
So we kind of got to, and I can send that email out again after our discussion with them, that we can talk about some more. But we kind of got to figure out what we want them to do or what we're looking at doing in order to put a dollar on it, because it could vary very much.
This was Henk and Schultz.
Yes.
Who helped us with this logo, and we
Well-
have talked with them, right?
Yes, the dinner logo.
I mean, they helped us with the Live Lively
Yep.
plan.
Yep.
I guess my biggest thing is, what exactly are we trying to accomplish with it?
That's a great question.
And I think it's hard to get, like, it's hard to get prices.
Right.
So, I mean, I would like to kind of dive into this, because I'm sick of tabling. I'd like to dive into it and.
Yeah, and what I wonder if what we need to do first, rather than dive into it with the whole council, is maybe take 2 or 3 of us subcommittee this deal and have a brainstorm meeting and see what I know what my whole goal with this deal is I want to see a cohesive plan, and I do think we're gonna have to hire somebody, an advertising agency or somebody to help us put that together. I just want to have an overarching kind of cohesive plan that says, when they see it, they know it's Hartford.
Can I throw something in here, Mayor? Because I think what you're trying to do, and I think it's good. I think it's good in terms of we're communicating the same thing.
Yes.
And I think that's good. That is, you're creating this visibility, this consistent visibility, same message.
Aura.
Yeah. You have 7 different, you could have 20 different parties in there, right? Because it's local developers, utilities, so there's a
Yep.
lot of hands in the cookie jar.
Yes, there is.
And I think it's a valiant effort to try and, maybe a group of people meets with all these, and I think that's good. When you have that many hands in a cookie jar, I think it is going to be a little bit different. So I guess I'm talking more on the pessimistic side of this side.
No, that's fine.
So to kind of round that out, is it more of, would this be more on the council? Would it be more efficient for us as a council to articulate whatever message we're trying to send? And then, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I just think it's going to be hard to kind of wrangle all of these groups up, and they all have different things. They're all doing, I think, the core, when you look at 1 through 6, okay, 1 through 6, right? The core of this is that, these people are on these boards, these different committees, because they love Hartford and they want to maybe promote Hartford in different ways.
Yep.
And so when I look at this, so from the larger standpoint, which is where you're coming from, is really how can we get these groups to communicate the same thing, right? Am I understanding what you're kind of after?
Yep.
I think in that same vein, what would be helpful to me, I don't mean this as a criticism, but like, can we get a little bit, clearly you want to do this.
Yeah.
And I also agree, I'm in Sean's camp, I think it's good. I can talk about it, I will go for it.
Yep.
But it would be helpful, like, why do we want to do this? So, like, what are our goals? And is it economic development? Is it just good PR? We want people to know like, what is it? And then depending on what those goals are, like, is there a strategic time to do it? Like, do we do it in the spring? Are we trying to help the school? When is the right time of year? Are we trying to get people to move to Hartford?
Right.
Like, is it businesses? I think that would be helpful, like, what are we hope to gain? Who's the audience? And then I think, working, and 7, I think, could be an endless list. So I would say your top 6 that on the list are the right list.
Yep.
And then having them bring someone to a subgroup to say, what would be helpful? And if they don't have anything, they're like, oh, no, we're great, we don't need anything from anybody. Or they can say, this would really be helpful on a broader scale, to have some support with social media, or to have, like, what do they need that they don't have right now that can be a part of this kind of project?
Yep.
And I have a question, right? So when you're talking about a marketing campaign, and just because I'm on several of these, and so I'm curious as to a marketing campaign, is this to market, you know, each area, so like Hometown Christmas, to market during that time frame, to market that event? Is that what part of this marketing
Possibly.
campaign is?
Possibly.
Is
Possibly.
it, you know, because that's what, I'm curious as to how it all, what it all encompasses.
Right.
That's what I think, some basic vision, laying that out,
Yeah.
and
Then
then
you can-
some feeder to that
And
group.
I suppose that I think it's a great idea isn't enough vision.
No.
Is that what I'm hearing?
That's not a vision,
Well,
I think that's
I think that's okay. I mean, I
Yeah.
think it's a great idea, but to each, the
Yeah.
comments is, you know, or even what I just
It's
wrote
just
down.
kinda nebulous.
What are we trying to say?
Yep.
You know,
No.
and who are we trying to say it to?
That's fair.
You know,
Hey, I know I take shots from everybody whenever I bring anything up.
when I read
I
it,
think
but
you
it-
have overall support for this. I
Mhm.
think we all want to do it. It's just like, we're never going to be able to figure out what it costs.
No.
Or whatever, until we like.
well, and
know what it
who's
is.
involved and how is
Okay,
third, fourth, fifth down the line. It's,
Mayor, can I throw one more?
one more, you get one more and then Travis gets one.
Oh, no, Travis, go ahead. I
Okay,
already
go
went,
ahead.
But yeah.
When I look at this, I just think back to Jamboree days, right? Downtown Hartford had their thing, Jamboree Days had their thing, Downtown Hartford was doing their marketing, Jamboree Days was doing their marketing. If we had an umbrella in place for the city of Hartford to market both of those, you have one place to go and look and see
Bingo.
everything that's going on.
Correct.
That's what appears to be missing.
I keep saying, overarching, I want an overarching campaign that looks like we're unified and we're together.
So it's promotion of
Perfect.
events.
Perfect example,
That's
It
because,
is.
Not only, I mean,
That's one thing.
I think, I look at this from that standpoint as a corporate, you know, so if we're gonna look at this as, I look at that, and maybe it's as simple, I mean, we can start simply, but I look at it, us as a council, making the decision for how do we want to market Hartford? Because here's the thing, so if we
Right.
market Hartford, hey, this is a place where you can still have that small town feel, but if you need to get to the big city, you can go there. Well, how does that affect downtown Hartford? It affects them greatly. You get people that come here, they enjoy the farmer's market, that kind of has that trickle-down effect. So I look at that as more of a, I think it would be easier, I guess, just to put a nail in the coffin on what I'm saying. I think it would be a little bit easier for us to attack this corporately, but at the same time, like she said, taking input from some of these organizations.
Right.
But for us to attack this corporately versus trying to appease every single organization and their needs. And
honestly, this is the conversation I wanted to start having. So thank you. I want you guys all thinking about this, because I keep thinking about this, and when I first sent this out, everybody blew me off and didn't even respond for 2 months, you know, which, you know, I'm used to that.
We don't respond to group emails about this.
I know you don't.
yeah, we can't reply all. Tom would have a fit.
We're scared.
We'll be honest,
We're scared.
I can't do
Okay,
that.
let that go.
So essentially, and I hate to throw this group out there because it's got such a big stigma towards it, but it's almost like a glorified Hartford Happenings, and minus all the junk that's with that. It's not just a Facebook page, it's, you know, okay, the Chamber's got this going on, downtown has this going on, so forth, so forth.
Okay.
And beyond Facebook, right? Beyond just social media.
Somebody asked the question, what's the ultimate goal? You know what the ultimate goal would be? To have a really slick commercial that if somebody was interested in Hartford or was on our Facebook page or was somewhere, you had a really slick commercial that they could click on and say, man, look at their public works guy, I want to live there.
Well, because we have the Discover Hartford, the Hartford SD thing.
Yeah,
That doesn't work for me,
right.
but maybe something a
They-
little more.
yeah.
You know, I mean, this
Right.
is, we've got
So
lots of pieces in place.
I-
does that kind of answer what?
Bring them all together.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I think it's a good start, but I think if one is to promote events, right?
Yep.
That's one of your goals.
Yep,
Are we, like,
recruit people to move to town, recruit businesses,
new
I mean,
residents, new
yes.
business?
Yep,
Yeah, it would have to be all that.
I mean, that's kind of the overcompassing what I'm after here. I want to have something that we can easily use to promote Hartford as one unified group. Does that
But-
make sense? I mean, that's the,
Shouldn't that be what the Chamber of Commerce does that for?
that's a good point, Michelle, because I've been really.
Isn't that what the Chamber of Commerce
Right.
is?
I think the
That's why
chamber
they pay
needs to
dues,
have
that's
huge,
why-
yeah, I think the chamber needs to have huge input in this.
Well, yeah, if
Well,
you look
maybe
at
they
when
have
this
a-
email was sent, they didn't have a director.
Right,
Right, no, I'm just saying in general, like,
Yeah.
don't we kind of have something that should be in place to, like,
right.
essentially do this? And we're going to potentially pay a wage for someone to.
Right.
You know, versus like, and maybe we still do need to pay an outsourced marketing, but, you know, isn't that essentially what our Chamber of Commerce is supposed to be doing for us?
right.
Maybe
And
we pump
they
the
don't-
brakes,
they
maybe
don't
we pump the
exist
brakes
for
on
this.
this and see
Yeah.
how that evolves with their new employee.
Yeah.
And we can,
They
we
might have
can.
someone who has some talent to, you know, manage things different, but I would say, I'm not part of the chamber, I don't run a business. My understanding of the chamber is they're there to promote businesses, and we're
Right.
going beyond that.
That's my
Well,
understanding, but
And that's
maybe.
true, but like DHI is a member, we aren't I mean, we're a nonprofit, but, you know, DHI is, a member of the chamber and, you know, and I don't know if any of these other committees are members, but,
Well, I think they are, some of them are.
I think so too. And so I just feel like we could be utilizing our chamber a little bit better.
Okay,
I would completely agree with that.
Maybe they're
Yeah.
a key partner.
Yep.
Yeah.
Rather
Okay.
than six
Yep.
people.
so we can get off this and keep moving, because, you know, Karen's gonna. You're not gonna live that one down for a while, I hope.
I
We're
know.
12 minutes in.
Yeah.
I
I'm gonna-
I agree. I think we pumped the brakes. I think I planted a good seed with Scotty. I want their board to talk about this deal. And probably it would be good for me or a couple of us to go to the chamber meeting and just have them talk and say, hey, how should we do this? But Michelle, to answer part of one of your questions, what really drove this with my brain was this last weekend with Jamboree Days. Because there was no
There was no
cohesive
cohesion.
advertising at all.
No.
And we want everybody to succeed. And it's like we were having this, I won't call it
You guys didn't
competing.
even have a 4x8 out on the Welcome to Hartford sign, that was all
Well, no,
Jamboree.
we didn't have notice that, like, there wasn't any mention on the news article.
Yeah,
There
so-
could have been you know, if they missed, if DHI missed the physical marketing, that's one thing, but there was no reason it couldn't be on the website. There was no
Yeah.
reason it couldn't be mentioned in the news
Right.
article. There was no reason for a lot of it not to be included in Jamboree Days. And
Right.
I feel this passionately about whether it's DHI or, like, I know we've talked before that I would love to see Jamboree Days across the city of
Yeah,
Hartford.
absolutely, and that's.
Highway 38,
right.
up, once construct, like,
Exactly.
up at the exit. This
Exit
isn't just,
37.
it
Yeah.
it isn't just the city park.
And I think you have support. The
Yep.
question is, what
Yeah.
do you want?
Yep,
And I don't think you can ask for money, because I don't think we know what.
no,
we're-
At this point, no.
I rarely ever ask.
And sometimes, I mean, I think, yeah, the chamber's a huge role, but okay, so we want people to build here.
Yep,
That might not fit necessarily into the chamber.
right.
So,
But they might be the
yeah,
best
I'm-
partner.
This is great input. I think this gives us an opportunity. Don't be surprised if one or two of you get a call and say, hey, let's have a meeting.
It's interesting that the.
Because I think that's
marketing-
one, yeah,
It's interesting that the marketing agencies want us to lay out what we want, But I would prefer that a marketing agency looks at Hartford and says,
This is what you
this
need
is what
to
you're
do.
missing.
Completely
Right.
agree.
This is what I
Yeah.
need.
And maybe we ask that question back to them.
But I
Let-
think
let me
that's
show you
where,
what we can do
that's
for
where you
you.
have to,
Yeah.
I think they can, but you have to tell them what you're trying to accomplish.
That's a fair point. You
I
gotta
think the whole thing
find
was,
the
they
goal,
needed
right?
goals
Sure.
too.
Yeah.
That was the
Find the
thing, that-
goal.
what did you, what goals do you
Yeah.
want, and then they can put something
Right.
together for
Okay.
it.
Yeah,
Okay.
like your mission.
That's what they were asking.
So this is great input, thank you, everyone. I mean, I'm glad we finally talked about it, so now you guys kind of know what I,
I was ready to table it again, but.
oh,
I was close.
man.
Tough crowd, tough
It
crowd.
is a tough crowd. All right, so we have one more item under new business. It is to review, approve the MCWC Water Purchase Agreement Amendment. This is to extend our contract for 2 years, correct?
Years, yes.
At present pricing?
Same terms, same conditions. We, had a 20-year contract with them that came up last year. They are putting in a lot of improvements to their system, so they weren't ready to renegotiate contract terms with any of, their
Right.
customers. And so we extend that for 1 year. They are still in that process. They would like it extended for another 2 years so they can complete all that, know what costs they have in that, have time to negotiate with everybody before it comes up again. So this would extend it for 2 more years under the same terms and conditions, so status quo, basically.
All right,
I've got a question. I remember it was probably 3 years ago, I saw from, there was a document that was given to me that our average peak daily use was in that 680,000 gallons per day. So I would be curious on, I would like, if we could just get that data with that, like, just so we could all see it. Like, I would be curious, like, updated data, because I think when I saw that number, that was probably 3 years ago. That was like a number that was like a year or two old.
Yeah.
And then I see this number, and it's not a, it's not a big deal but I would be curious at, just in like, what is, last year, for example, 2024, what was our average daily use of gallons, I guess I call it gallons per day?
we can come up with that, can we?
I think, yeah, we've got.
We'll get her
we
put
have
out there
meters,
on
we
the-
can get
Yeah.
that, so.
If you put it out on in the box,
Put it in the
just let
box,
us
yeah.
know.
We would actually do a monthly water
Yeah.
loss and everything like that, and then show us how many gallons we actually purchased that year, how much we purchased that month.
What we used.
What we
Yep.
used.
What we could bill for.
What's that?
What we could bill for. That's a good, how much do we pay for versus how much do we bill for? Is there some losses anywhere in our
Yeah,
system?
we've got, it's all on a spreadsheet every month, Ron.
Yep,
puts it
I'll
together.
just give you that.
Is that gonna
information.
be anything that ISG, will that address?
Come into our
those
water,
concerns? With
Some
the-
of the water loss is a little difficult, so that's a calculation that Craig will do every month, just to make sure there's call it a standard loss that we can put in rounds. Now, if we start seeing that jump real high, then we understand there's a break in the system. When you're looking anywhere between 5 to 10% water loss within a system, it's really hard to track that down.
Yeah.
Because that's a
We do this log and then we look with something, if that gets higher, and we've always been below that standard, so we haven't had any major. If we do see there's, a little bit on the higher side, it's okay, what happened? Well, it may be we're flushing hydrants, so none of that goes through the
Right.
meters,
We
what
try
could
to
be the cause?
Estimate it,
Fire-
something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Could be a
sure.
fire, something like
Let's
that.
say
Sometimes the
fire,
fire
yeah,
department
right.
hooks
Yeah.
on and there's, we don't
So-
meter any of that, so that could be,
With this water study, because that checks pressures, right? That really tracks pressures. How do you, if you see a big leak, is that how you can tell? Can you,
there's a lot
I
of,
mean,
a lot of water around.
I mean, does it just start bubbling up through the ground?
that's basically what you.
What happens? It just starts bubbling up through the ground?
Because our system's so looped that
Yeah.
if you have a leak over here, it's not gonna really drop the pressure unless it's kind of a dead end line or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's a huge leak. And
Yeah.
at that point, it's coming to the surface.
Okay,
So
okay,
even in the wintertime, it'll surface.
yeah, oh, okay. All right,
I think I have a leak in my pool.
Got a lot of
There's a
water.
lot of water in
You
there.
notice a loss.
No, we can figure it
No,
out.
that would be a gain, because
All
I
right.
have to pay for
We'll get some
that.
information to you guys.
hold on, Travis, I think it was right.
Oh, my bad, Travis.
Motion to approve MCWC water purchase agreement amendment. I got his good ear over here.
Second.
I got it.
You got the second.
Maybe he can call on you first.
I was like literally saying it, he goes, hold on, Travis is doing this.
Yeah,
I'd started about 3 times.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
I missed it all 3 times.
any other discussion? Oh, man, she's gonna be sending me emails tomorrow. Ooh, man. If there's no other discussion, we'll vote. Schilling.
Yes.
Horacek.
Yes.
Keel.
Yes.
Horn.
Yes.
Bowen.
Yes.
Mattson.
Yes.
Better not forget him, he'll say no again. All right, do we have anything for exec?
I do not.
Are you joking me?
I don't believe we do.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?